Following the Milwaukee Brewers' 4-0 win over the Los Angeles Dodgers in the third game of the NLCS October 15, Fox commentator Alex Rodriguez made some interesting remarks. These comments followed a somewhat typical Brewers use of four relievers after a starter left a game relatively early, a game nonetheless ending a 5-hit shutout for visiting Milwaukee. Rodriguez suggested that Brewers manager Craig Counsell may have just spent a little too much time staring at an iPad, and that it almost cost him. At some level it was an understandable evaluation. Milwaukee's fourth reliever, Jeremy Jeffress, had loaded the bases in the ninth inning, making a 4-0 game seem very much closer at its very end than the final score suggests. Rodriguez's remarks, however, were an interesting, old-school, implied criticism of the Brewers' use of their pitchers and, apparently, a dependence on analytics. Of course, the former Yankees star didn't actually know what Counsell was looking at on his iPad, and neither does anyone else who wasn't in Milwaukee's dugout, but the following should be observed. Milwaukee has leaned on their bullpen all season, and this has annoyed Rodriguez, who has predicted, not very daringly, that Milwaukee won't win a world championship if their starters average only 3 or 3 1/3 innings. Last night's starter, Jhoulys Chacin, went 5 1/3 innings, but don't think that makes Rodriguez some kind of genius. That's still a somewhat short start. However, how about a return to a specific move Counsell made last night that almost cost him? Consider his use of hard-throwing left-hander Josh Hader in the 8th inning. Hader had just had 2 days off following Counsell's use of him for 3 innings and 46 pitches October 12, and some managers might have still wanted to rest one of their biggest guns a little bit more. The NLCS is, after all, a 7-game affair. Nonetheless, Hader came into the game with 1 out in the 8th to face, well, what would it be, 1 hitter? 2. Would he be asked to close the game because he'd had 2 days rest? Clearly, Counsell didn't want to use right-hander Joakim Soria against left-handed hitters Jock Peterson and Max Muncy, so he brought in Hader, the lefty. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts then countered with 2 right-handed pinch hitters, David Freese, a former postseason MVP, and Matt Kemp, an all-star this season. Hader struck out both on 98 mph fastballs up and away, throwing a total of 8 pitches, 7 for strikes. Then he was gone. Had Counsell gotten lucky, or did his iPad maybe tell him Roberts might well counter with 2 veteran right-handed, accomplished hitters? It seems entirely possible Counsell saw, on his iPad, Roberts might make the 2 moves he did. Next, Brewers bullpen plan problem. Want your voice heard? Join the call to the pen team. Write for us. More, he probably strongly suspected that Hader could throw pitches right by a 35-year-old and a 34-year-old. He knew this from watching baseball games, not staring at iPads.